So I had lots of recordings of Guruji teaching the Part 1 course, and I transcribed them, and I would listen to the recordings in my car when I was driving, and I memorized every single word that Guruji said, because I didn't believe anybody would take me seriously. I didn't think I could say accept people as they are, and people would believe me. Guruji had some credibility. Me, I didn't know. And we hadn't had any courses yet in the United States. So I memorized every single word. And when I delivered the course, I was a carbon copy of Guruji. I was able to... And as I continued to teach, I felt really confident that people were having a similar experience as being with Guruji, because I delivered every word exactly the way he said it. And then after teaching for maybe 6 months or so, Guruji invited me to come to India, and there was really no ashram in those days. We stayed here in Bangalore in Jainagar. I don't know if any of you remember when we had Gyan Mandir. That was really where we taught. And then we went to the ashram slowly. And Guruji would send me out all the time to go and teach. Mostly the corporate courses I would teach. And one time he sent me out to Mangalore to go teach on the coast. And I was very successful. I taught maybe 300-400 people within my first week being there. And when I was there, somebody came up to me who was a member of the Bangalore Management Association. And this person was so impressed, he said, you know, the next time we have our monthly meeting, we would like you to come and be the speaker. And I said, okay, what's involved? He said, you'll come and it'll be an hour-and-a-half, 2-hour program. You'll talk, then we'll have some food. You'll meet all the people. Would you like to come? I said, absolutely. So I came back to the ashram and I saw Guruji. And I said, Guruji, I was invited to speak at this Management Association meeting. Which one of your talks would you like for me to memorize? Because this is all I knew. I only knew to memorize, and then I could deliver. And when he heard that, he laughed so hard, he almost fell off his chair. I thought it was ridiculous. He said, no. Just go, talk for 5-10 minutes, and after 5-10 minutes, ask people, do you have a question? And you'll be able to answer that question, and then another question, and like that you'll fill up the time and you'll be able to deliver your talk. I didn't believe him, but I had faith in Guruji, and I said, okay, so I went. I talked to 5-10 minutes. I was able to tell people that their mind vacillates between the past and the future and present moment. That much I could do. And then I said, do you have a question? Somebody asked me a really easy question. I went for another 15 minutes, and like that, I filled up the whole program, and I was amazed. It was a very successful program that I was able to deliver. So since then, I have not changed my style. I just talk to you now for 10 minutes. Now I'm going to open it up for you to ask me some questions. If I'm lucky and the grace is with me, the first question will be an easy question. And then we'll continue like that. So what, write the book so many times? It took me like 5 years to put that together. I started it, I wrote it, and then I sent it to some publishers, nothing happened. So I left it alone. And then a couple of years later, I started again. And there's only one thing about the book. I don't like this Sri Sri character. So I thought, oh my gosh, what did I write? You know? So I had to write it again. And then it was published. And then after it was published, guess what? Guruji read the book. I had to write it again. I'm not doing it another time. It's done, finished. Let me on the path is the same glue that keeps all of us on the path. And I think there's only one thing. It's love. Somehow, all of us experience and have felt the love of Guruji. And it's that love that keeps us going. Maybe I was really lucky and I spent a lot of quality time with him, but I don't think quantity matters. It's the quality. Even for a few seconds, if Guruji gives you a glance, it fills you up. How many have this experience? Yeah, we're all in the same club. It's the love of the Guru that keeps me here, and I think it keeps all of us here. I don't see it as a failure. There was this great saint who once had this wonderful expression, don't be the football of other people's opinions. Have you heard this? You know, those course points are amazing. If you took the course once and you think you've gone through it, you are confused. The whole purpose for anybody who becomes a teacher of art of living, the benefit really is for the person teaching, not so much for the person receiving. You're saying this every week, every 2 weeks, once a month, the same course points, they really get into you. And this is for all of us to incorporate into our lives. Okay, some people like it, some people don't like it, some people think what you're doing has value, some people think what you're not doing has value. You cannot please all the people in the world. It's impossible. You can't. And one thing for sure, the more responsibility you take in life, the more people will have opinions about you. If you're a shy, quiet person, you play it really safe, and you don't do very much, then nobody has an opinion about you. But if you become a leader, if you really take action, if you believe in something and take responsibility, you come to the front, everybody will have an opinion about you. That's the way it goes. So what do you want? Do you want everybody to like you, or do you want to make a change in this world?
We can change.
Can you imagine Guruji all the time waiting for everybody to like him? I mean, there are people who are opposed to Guruji. There are. There's all sorts of political opinions about him, spiritual opinions about him. Does it affect him at all? No. So, you can't please everybody. It's just impossible to do that. Next, of course, in 1979, there was a university in Iowa, in the Midwest, Fairfield, Iowa. And I was practicing transcendental meditation. And I went to this university to sit and meditate for long periods of time. And there was an advanced technique that Maharshi taught, which is called the TM Cities program. And to do it, we needed a special structure he wanted, which was a geodesic dome. And the building was built, but the walls weren't up. It was just the shell, the periphery. And there was going to be an inauguration. Maharishi came for the inauguration of this dome. And part of the ceremonies was there were 3 pundits who were there who were going to chant Rig Veda. And it was so cold. In our temperature, it was about 40 degrees below zero. That's cold. That means I was standing there with a winter coat and a hat and boots and gloves and a scarf, freezing outside. And these 3 pundits who had never left India before, they were on the stage. 2 of them were just shivering as they were chanting. And they were electric heaters that were plugged in to keep them warm. And people were putting wool blankets on them. And still they were shivering. But there was one pundit, and he was a little fair. He had almond-shaped thighs and a small mustache, and his hair was just up to here. He didn't seem to be cold at all. And he didn't even want a blanket, nothing. And when I saw him refusing the blanket, I had this feeling like I wanted to jump up on the stage and put a blanket on him and take care of him. I had never had a feeling like that before. And eventually, he took a shawl, and he continued chanting. As soon as he took the shawl, I went, I felt relieved. And then later that day, we were going to this large meditation hall to do our sadhana. And I was carrying all my paraphernalia, my blanket and shawl and all the things I needed. And there was this white car, a Cadillac, that was driving around the campus. And the 3 pundits were in the back of the car. They were touring around, taking a tour of the campus. And that fair-looking pundit with the short hair and the little mustache and the almond-shaped eyes, he was on the end, and he was looking out the window. And I caught his eyes. And for some reason, I still don't understand today, I just started to cry. I don't mean I mean, like cried, like release. It was so strong. And then I went to do my sadhana, and it was such a deep meditation after that. And I would think about that face and those eyes. It was like something, when I would see those eyes, I would just have such joy inside me. And many years passed. That was in 79. In 1988, I went to an intro talk. There were all of 11 people at that intro talk. And all of a sudden, somebody floated into the room and took a seat. And it was that same guy, that same Pandit, except his hair was now longer, and had a beard, and I looked at him, and it was the same person. And that's how I met Guruji. How the red walk like a king. Anybody? That's made for teachers. And I had the good fortune of putting that together, transcribing it and editing it. And I showed that book to Guruji before it was published. It was my idea to put this together. So Guruji went through every single page. He really went into great detail in it. And then when he looked at the introduction to the book, he read the introduction I wrote, and he said, no, that's not a good introduction. Remove that. He said, why don't you write the introduction of when you were standing outside in the cold, and I didn't take a blanket, and then I drove by in the car, and I looked into your eyes, and you cried. Why don't you tell that story? That would be a good story for the book. We had never, ever, ever discussed that. So that was quite an interesting thing. Okay, next question. Who said that? Same course points, same Guruji, same love, same grace. Same. Yes.
Trust with which you have worked. The one simple and very stupid question I would like to ask is, for how many hours do you sleep? I mean, I have remembered that phrase from somewhere that if you are chasing a dream, and especially if it is a vision, it doesn't let you sleep. So,
I sleep normal 7-8 hours. How about you? I'm just a regular guy, and I had certain experiences, and I wrote these experiences in the book. And when I was going through all those times, especially the experiences of deep meditation and a lot of flashy so-called experiences, Guruji would just say to me, you're having these experiences not for you, but for other people. And if you record your experiences, it will inspire other people on the path. And then I started, many years later, to write the experiences. But I'm just a regular guy, normal, ordinary man. In spirit and life.
I hope so.
How do I compare what?
How do you compare Zionism to what Gurudev is teaching?
Zionism.
Zionism?
Yeah.
You serious?
Yeah.
Zionism is a political, it's not a spiritual thing. I went to a religious school when I was a kid growing up. It was a very big part of my life. But I don't feel like I've lost Judaism. I feel it's still part of me. And I've expanded myself to something more diverse, bigger in a way. And it always felt like a very natural transition. I think, for me is the same thing for you. If you didn't enjoy what you were doing, you wouldn't